Hey guys, the Wild Ninja here, and today we are going to do a huge breakdown of Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 3 Part 1. I've spoken about how I feel about this season, but I do want to break the episodes down, talk about Easter eggs, hidden stuff that we might have all missed out on. But I want to talk in this video before sort of discussing stuff in shorter videos. So for however long this video is, because it's probably going to be longer than half an hour, we are going to break down every little detail that we saw in Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 3. I appreciate all the support so far on the channel for all the season 3 information and news that we were getting in the leaks. But I'm looking forward to making this video, breaking this down. So, again, this is a huge spoiler warning because this is coming out just the week after Dragons Rising has obviously came out, or just a couple days. However long this takes to make. So huge spoilers if you haven't checked it out already. So make sure you check the episodes out before checking this video out, because I will be spoiling the season. So whenever you're ready to check this video out, save it, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. We are getting into Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 3 spoilers, Part 1. Let's go. Episode 1 of Ninjago Dragons Rising, I wanted to break down the intro. Now, the intro is one of my favorite parts of this. It is definitely different to usual intros. We have the ninja all jumping in. This sequence here is just beautiful. Having Nia, Cole, Zane, Kai, Sora, Wildfire, Ryu, Lloyd jumping in while the Forbidden Five are there with Thunder Thing behind. It is so cool having that sort of montage of the ninja. Then we have Sora and Zane kicking it out together against the Forbidden Five. Kai and Nia, this is an absolute brother and sister shot. Really like that a lot. Thunder Thing then coming into view and being his strong and powerful self. Then we have Wildfire jumping up, and then each ninja sort of just appears, including Thrak, which is pretty sick. So, yeah, let's now talk about Ninjago Dragons Rising fully itself. Season 1 starts off with Thunderfang focusing the Arc Dragon of focus. We're not going to spend so much time on this because this was one of the first clips that we did see in Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 3. Rux is obviously the one that tells this story out loud to either the Forbidden Five or to our dead self. But this is obviously something that we've got to take into factor because the Source Dragons are going to be under threat. And you've got to remember, Thunder Thing was helping during the Oni and Dragon War. And he then wanted to be a Source Dragon before he earned that title. And he had consumed the souls of the Oni. So remember that for later on. He's a soul sucker Oni killer. And maybe Dragon killer. But still, he wants Oni souls. And he'll get one a bit later on in the season. But yeah, Ninjago Season 3 starts off like this. So, starting off with how Season 3 starts, The Missing, it starts out really good. It starts with, obviously, after the intro has started, we get a bit about what Sora's been up to in the week that has passed since the tournament. She has been baking pies. She obviously stumbles across characters that we've met in previous seasons, such as Fugidove, who Fugidove was a really nice inclusion to see come back, but her pie baking skills aren't really great. She obviously isn't that great at making pies either, because Fugidove just goes bleh, everyone just goes bleh. So she's obviously going to have to learn about something. So I want to talk about the side story later of Kai and Nia, but we'll just talk about the whole big picture story about Arin first. I think starting this off with Sora was really good. Pretty much breaking down the Cole and Lloyd talk. We saw most of this in the teaser trailer. They talk about Arin, how Arin's missing, how Jay's missing with no memory. And Lloyd is feeling it from both angles on what he should do. He doesn't know how to play things. Cole just reminds him. Jay is being searched out by Kaini and Wildfire. Hence, the rest should look for Arin, and that's where he's going. If anyone's going to be lost, he thinks the land of lost things will most likely be there. They discuss how Master Wu caused the merge, and Lloyd says it specifically. Do you think he's dead? And Cole's like, yeah, I know things about dead people. Let me just play the clip quickly.
Do you really think he's departed? Because it just doesn't feel like he's gone.
With my history, I know what departed spirits are. That was him. I'll send back anything I find.
Alright, so this scene does take a huge hit, but, like a bag of rocks, but let's just talk about Ninjago Dragons Rising itself, just pretty much hinted about Cole's past death. So Cole was turned into a ghost at a certain stage, and he knows what it's like. He tells Lloyd he's had a past with this, remember? It was definitely that. However, Cole's totally wrong, because we'll find out in a future episode the Master is still alive. But still, it does hit hard, doesn't it? To hear all that stuff, you feel bad for Lloyd and Cole, because they both have a good history with Master Wu. Now, kind of this really short year, the idea that they brought up there, the part of which they'll do a bit later on, was really cool. So I really do like this scene, and I have to admit, this is a huge setup for what I think Season 3, if those Season 3 Part 2 descriptions are correct, this really changes the turntables. Lloyd pretty much then checks up on Frack's training so far. Frack's training is, in a nutshell, still about strength, still up to Lord Roz's ways, to be honest. However, Sora comes out and says, I need some help. Frack, can you help make pies with me? You taught Arin. Can you teach me? Frack then says some cutie shit to Sora, and Sora's weirded out by it. Then Zane comes in. Oh, well, this is actually when Zane does come in. And Zane sees one of Sora's pies explode, which then gives him some chaos ideas, how he can accumulate, how that pie's explosion worked, how that chaos, that boom works, and he put them into an algorithm to help see where maybe Arin could be located. So pretty simple what happens in the rest of this episode. Well, Zane has talked about the algorithms. Frack also says how afraid he is of Dorama's puppet, pretty much. They have to now go fight Dorama's puppet that is being possessed by a Prismatic blade, which is really interesting. The Prismatic blade obviously has some weird powers that the ninja don't know about. Well, they have fighting, which the fighting is really nice in this season. Frack jumps in to face the sphere of the puppet because he saw it glow, and pulls it out, and guess what it is, everyone? A Prismatic blade? It's a Prismatic blade. Now, the Prismatic blade, at this point, the ninja have no idea about still, but has some special power to it, and I'm very glad that Frack was able to sort of face a fear here. Now with the Prismatic blade, the ninja are going to go on that quest that they were going to go on to find Arin. Now that is very interesting. Let's talk about the Kai, Nia, and Wildfire's side plot. So, for the Jay, sort of finding Jay storyline, Nia, Kai, Wildfire have won on this quest. The reason why they're on this quest is the Explorers Club gave us a hint to a bit of lightning power, which we find out it's thanks to these rock monsters that have lightning powers. Now, that is very, very interesting. They get captured because they accidentally ruined the ceremony. Just per usual, they get pretty pissy. So I don't really know how to feel about that. Then they get imprisoned, which is horrible. Then they throw Vengestone at Kai. Reminder of season 13 when the Geckles threw rocks at Kai. Pretty cool. But Vengestone is there. The reason why they have Vengestone is just cause. No particular reason. And Kai does ask that question after the Vengestone bio. But still, they try to plead their case. Nia is the only one that gets freed. And Nia's not going to just do that, so she lets everyone out, Kai and Wildfire go by helping them with a distraction of water. They run away, but sadly, looks like they're wanted. But pretty cool that we got an initial reminder that the Explorers Club still exists. I wonder if Misako's still a part of it. A quick sidebar for the Forbidden Five, because they don't do shit in this episode. So the Forbidden Five are pretty much just on a killing spree, just to get some stuff. To unleash Thunderthing. Makes sense to use? Cool, because this is not going to be important later on. Rox just lets Kura to see some people and says, "Pow, the land that we're back." Yeah, nothing too interesting there, but something that I thought I would just share because it is something that is a part of this episode. Alright, so we're going to quickly break down small side plots, mainly starting with Arin's side plot in the ultimate object of admiration. So this starts off with Arin going to this little place in the first realm to find food, water sources, all that sort of stuff in this hut. Arin comes across his family, has this green ninja doll. Now, the dude gives him that green ninja doll, and then Arin is now taking care of Lord Raz. This whole episode is Arin and Lord Raz also trying to find this connection. Well, Raz says it's been several weeks. I think it's massively only been a week, at least a week and a half, that anything's taken place. Arin is drinking, not drinking. Why would he be drinking? Arin has been getting Raz up to health, but it isn't working. We find out at the end of the episode that Lord Raz is dying, which will take us into the third episode, but we won't get into that. But that's kind of Arin's arc so far in this episode. He is back. He's working with Lord Raz. He's trying to get him to massive help. And quick story short, Arin, you are not doing well with your training, and we are getting there slowly but slowly. Let's talk about Kaini and Wildfire, what they're doing in this episode. Nothing. Literally nothing. I don't see the point in this. But hence they do obviously by next episode change uniforms. So Kaini, Wildfire are just setting up camp. I think they're about to actually head home from what I know about the third episode. But Wildfire gets these like little tweets from Robbie, from those little dragons that was supposed to send a ninja an invitation last season, but hence it is just these cute moments. It is, to be honest, a massive continuation of last episode. I didn't talk about it in that episode. Kai is quite annoying towards Nia, but you gotta remember, he's just been freed from Neverspace. He's gonna want to talk. He's gonna want to use his mouth. He had to be quiet for a whole week, yeah? So he's gonna want to motor mouth his mouth a little, like Jay. But still, hence, I think it was really amazing. I think Kai being honest with Nia, saying, I don't really know how to handle this situation. Obviously, Nia's looking towards him, but it's true. Kai doesn't know what to do. And that's him being honest. Wildfire's bored out of her brains, and Nia's just looking for guidance. I think next episode, Kai's idea is really smart, but I will talk also about why I think that was a very brilliant decision to work on, but at the same time, I wish they did something with it. Let's actually talk about the main meat of the episode, which was really cool. Back to the main meat of the story, Zane leaves the group of team to find Arin, while Lloyd, Fraxor, and Ryu continue on their search. However, Frack does mention that he used to live in the sewers, so he knows a lot about caves and bad smells, which I quite enjoyed, that reminiscent of this season, of previous seasons of the Snakes. Also, Frack and Sora aren't really getting along well much these days, because Frack's a bit of a know-it-all, while Sora's like, why can't I say one sarcastic thing? Anyhow, they get pretty much avalanched on top, and they end up in the first realm. I'm going to do a video, or have done a video explaining why they don't call it the first realm anymore, but it is interesting to see this area. I have to admit, the Dragonians are really cool. Tyr is really nice. I like what they wear. I just like it all. Sora gets an explanation of what the Oni are, Don't know why neither of these two characters know what the Oni are. They were pretty much invaded several years ago by Oni. But hence, the ninja Lloyd does explain the whole war. Anyhow, these old ladies give them a hint on where these Dragonian scouts were that saw Arin, allegedly. Lloyd's Spinjitzu is different. This is where we get the confirmation that Spinjitzu works differently in the first land. Done a whole video about that in a previous one. They come across this giant oaf and they find Jay, who's after a trophy. Now, this episode was interesting. It's definitely interesting for the whole arc that we have just seen. But I have to admit, the takeaway here is Tiong and Jay. Very interesting episode. Definitely gets whole of episode 1 explored down permanently. Was pretty cool. I love the storyline a lot. I won't really delve into this. So the big Easter egg in this episode is definitely the Oni and Dragon. So the Oni and Dragon war does get mentioned here. Really love that. Really am grateful that does get mentioned. Obviously, huge importance to Ninjago lore, right? Now, obviously, Doc White has stated that there will be obviously a mention of Oni in future seasons. This is obviously that mention. I don't know how well Ninjago will explore Oni, but they did something perfect here that I said works. So, I think what they've done here works perfectly. I just want to hear in the comments what everyone else thinks. Ninjago Dragons Rising has done something that I think is absolutely cool with the Oni so far. Just mentioning how fun the thing has consumed them. It works. I like the concept here. I just want to know you guys' thoughts. It is something that is obviously addressed in this episode, and Sora and Frack do act like idiots, not knowing they have actually been invaded before. Hence, we don't know if Thrak was living in the sewer. It might have just been a quick takeover. Who's to say? Or maybe Sora's people never got affected by the Oni. It is just very interesting how majority of these realms know about them, while some don't. Spectral Land starts off with its side plot, which is finding Jay. So they go to this arcade that Labo has obviously acquired with the money he won in the first season. Now, Kai plays this old game that Jay used to have at Edna and Ed's junkyard, which is a cool callback to Jay's love of video games, and this just felt like Prime Empire a lot. Kai tries to beat the game, he starts to struggle. Wildfire has a subplot where she's never played video games before besides on her pod. Anyhow, Kai eventually does win, and Nia never thought this was possible, but once Kai has won, Jay plays, but not in the room. That was pretty cool, a pretty cool callback, and it's interesting that he's doing this automatically. In a future episode, and I'm not going to discuss it in that episode, I think, they try to figure out how Jay's doing it. It's not addressed later on how he did this, but I would have liked some address that Jay was actually doing this and this wasn't some other Jay. Because, heavens knows, this could have been one of Jay's avatars. So, I would have liked that to be addressed. Now, let's be realistic. The Spectral Lands is something Doc White had said in a tweet before Season 3 had come out. That is something that will be explored 100%. And you know what? They did it perfectly. The Departed Realm and Cursed Realm got merged together, and let me get Mora to explain what actually had happened.
I died. Why are you and those monsters the only things here?
Oh, the Departed Realm was way messed up even before the merge turned it into the Spectral Lands. We had the Cursed Realm end up inside here. So when the merge happened, both realms got all mixed together. It's a mess. Let's go.
But shouldn't there be more departed souls here than just you?
After the merge, the Departed were finally able to move on.
Move on? To where?
I don't know. Another phase of existence. To be reborn beats me. But I like to think they go to eternal rest. And when people die, they still come here, but they only pass through. And as they do, they're vulnerable to soul suckers. So I protect them.
Why haven't you moved on?
Sometimes I feel the pull to do just that. But I told you, I was a ninja. And I've decided it's my duty to protect everyone who passes through here. Even if they happen to still be alive. We're here.
So if you have never watched Agatha all along, this is a perfect example of that, how they pretty much have to walk a bit of a road that before they die. Go past their past memories and trauma before they die. This was a great way to show how the new departed realm and cursed realm do work. Moro does say at times we do get visitors that have died come to rest. It is honestly interesting Moro's character. Now, obviously, the whole plot of this is Arin needs to go find liquor or this liquid that will help cure Ross from his deceasing and his death. I found that very interesting. It sucks that this plot line was very strong. I feel that it was a bit too perfect for me, and I think I like it like that. Moro's character is absolutely amazing. I felt like there needed to be more dialogue, and there was, in my opinion, a bit too much hint that he has a master, he has a past. And secondly, how did Arin know about Moro? Yeah, he had his own template in the museum. Arin was young. He should at least remember this. He is, again, like Ross said last season, one of the youngest members. He would have had to know about all these great villains at a certain stage. But hence, I think it was great. Now, to conclude this, I'm a little annoyed that Arin, didn't ask. If you have seen people die, have you seen my parents? I felt like that should have been a question that should have been addressed. It wasn't obviously addressed. But hence, I'm obviously not talking about the Spectral realm in depth. I want to do a separate video on that. But still, I'm very glad that it was brought up in this episode. Doc White was absolutely correct. This was getting a huge mention in Season 3. Now, Mara does ask once they've saved, obviously, Arin and Ross from these spectral monsters that want to suck their soul up. He was asked a particular question. He asked something to Mara. If you've ever run into my Master Wu, can you tell him something? And I'm just going to show you the quote because I want it to be perfect.
For me, if you ever run into my master, let him know. He was right.
Of course. Who was your master?
His name is Wu.
Master Wu? But he's dead.
No, he must be alive. If he had departed, I'd know. He would have come through here. Now it's really time for you to go.
Yeah, so Moro kind of confirmed that Master Wu is still alive. That is so shocking. I am glad that was confirmed in this episode. And it is perfect that Moro is the one that watches over the dead. It's just... this episode's a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. It's how to write an episode and have a side plot as well. I admit the side plot maybe should have just been a first part of this, and we came back to it in the 11 minutes, and then got back into Arin and Moro stuff. It has worked very well this episode, and another thing I just want to quickly talk about before the episode ends. I find that these guys do not do much. The Forbidden Five are unleashed to fund the thing, unleash the Dragonian warriors, and that sums up what really happens. Now, I did forget to mention Arin also had one of the blades as well, prismatic blades, which help you see prismatic, see through, with prismatic steel, you'll see ghosts. It's something I'll break down in the 5th episode, or is it the 4th episode? It's a later on story that Nia finds out some information, so I'll save it for then, and I'll talk about the prismatic blades. The name of this episode 4, is The Great Zane Robbery. Now, this episode starts with obviously Lloyd talking to Sora and Frack, but quickly getting onto the main story of it, and the main meat of the story. The whole story is about Zane, because Zane's the episode name, and what pretty much happens is Zane finds a monastery in the First Realm, and pretty much Rapton comes in with a pod that was similar to Zane's. This obviously becomes Pixels. I found that to be an interesting subplot, and Zane, of course, runs after Rapton. Also, something that I do want to clarify here, there's an Easter egg where Xanth is dancing with a bird. Easter egg. Then we get Rogue, Jay, he pretty much gets told that Zetrix wants to meet up in 2 days' time, which we'll see later on. So getting away from this story, Zane and Pixel come back to each other, but Pixel asks a question. You've been so emotional. Why? It's only been yesterday we saw each other. So Pixel has no memory of anything that happened prior to the merge. She remembers the merge, what happened that day, that's pretty much it. They get to fighting Rathon's crew, but lo and behold, Zane had missed the Prismatic Blade, and now they have to fight for the Prismatic Blade against Noct. Pixel doesn't know who Noct is, but I have to admit, she pulls her weight. She does pretty well against Noct. Zane also has introduced at this point the other new members of the team, which is really cool how he does that. But yeah, it's pretty cool how Noct fights Zane and wants a rematch. Still, hence, Noct wins. He leaves, but he leaves the little train going straight for a mountain to slam into it. Zane sort of sacrifices himself where his ones and twos aren't working out properly, and he's left in this devastating state. Now, I want to quickly conclude here. Was this done properly? Admittedly, yes. I think, though, they used that Zane sacrifice music a bit too much. And I'll talk about this in a separate video about Zane and his big form. And I'll probably talk about this in the next episode, breakdown. But something that feels a bit odd with Zane's big form is it is temporarily. It's just not told that it's temporarily. Zane pretty much states in this episode the most important thing to do right now is to go off the Noct. So Pixel's pretty much definition here is, let's quickly get you into a body. And this is what I might not talk about next episode. It's pretty much get you into a body, get you fixed. That's it. Let's get into battle. Because that's what Zane said in small terms. So that was interesting. So, yeah. The episode ends with Rox going to the Red Sea place Lloyd and Arin went to in Season 1, Part 2 to find the Dragon Energy Cores. We can see that everyone's working well together, but when Rox comes, she goes into the water to pretty much find a blade. I have an odd question to just throw out, but was the blade the reason why the sea was red? And is the blades just thrown out into different realms? Or are they in the first realm? That last question is odd, but was the blade making the ocean red? I'd like to know an answer to. Alright? Anyone else here? Just let me know if that was something that you guys found interesting. Anyhow, this makes 2 blades found. At this point, Arin has a blade thanks to Roz, so that's 3 blades total. They are now on the search for 2 blades left, which Lloyd's group has one, so there's 1 more left that we'll find very interesting, won't we? Next episode. I Alone Can Save Them is the middle episode, the 5th episode of Season 3, Part 1, and it's very interesting. Arin and Roz go into this desert. Arin and Roz find this jet that Roz has had there the whole time. They go to this rocky place, and then they find the tombstones of Arin's parents. Arin starts to tear up, and we actually get here a reveal for Arin's parents' names, and Roz doesn't look like he's manipulating Arin one bit. Or is he? And if he is, he's doing a really good job hiding it. We find out Arin's parents' names, which is very interesting. Names being Jenny and Barry Nived. Nived. I think that's how you spell it. Wow, it's interesting how we get his parents' names and his last name at the sort of in this episode. It's just interesting, all of that and combined is a lot. Now, Arin is following now Lord Roz's master, Lord Roz, and Lord Roz is like, if we reverse the merge, we can bring back your parents, and Arin is now along for the ride. The other big meat of this episode is Lloyd, Ryu, Sora, and Frack head to pretty much this
the Spectral lands, close to the Spectral lands that Arin and Raz were. Now, it obviously doesn't work out well because Ryu is not now just following Arin's scent, he's now finding the Dragonian scent. However, on the other side of this, Pixel is trying to rebuild Zane with the Pink Pony Club rebooters from Rapton. Then we cut back to Lloyd has to fight Zark. Now, I have to admit, this battle was great. I love seeing how Zark moves, how Zark fights, but it's disappointing that the power of misfortune was misused. Lloyd and the rest of the team do withstand the fight. Sora Frack really impressed me in this fight as well, not being able to use both their powers. But as soon as Pixel comes in, it kind of shocks me. Pixel is able to hold her own against Zark, which is interesting and pretty cool. And Zane comes in and is really epic. I like his big form and I like the explanation. Now, explained in the last episode's breakdown why I don't really think that Big Zane is going to be this huge thing in the next part. Reasons being, I've explained on my channel before, I don't think Big Zane's going to be a huge thing because LEGO cannot keep rebuilding the same model. And plus two, Zane did say in the previous episode that this is something he wants to quickly get into battle because he needs to help the ninja stop the Forbidden Five. They are a threat, and if he is not able to help, they may not stand a chance. Understandable, but it isn't clarified at all. Hence, I do like how Pixel just returns and is able to kick Zark's butt. I know I've said that already, but I found that pretty cool. Those were the two meats of the episode. Let's talk about some of the small stuff that happened. So, going back to the Jay side plot where Nia, Kai, Wildfire are trying to search for him. So they play the game, now they're checking the motherboard. They all of a sudden see there's no way Jay could actually be playing this remotely. However, they get interrupted by a message. That message is, obviously, as everyone knows, Roby got decayed by the Forbidden Five, which is what we're going to talk about now. Now, why did Kerr come to see Roby? What was the huge importance of coming to see Roby? Prismatic Blade, of course, but why, or where was the Prismatic Blade? So the Prismatic Blade was in the weapon that Zetrix hit Lloyd with in Season 2, Part 2, which is interesting. It's on display as well. I don't know what to think about this. This would have been really cool if we got this in the set, though. But nonetheless, they did something actually that no one actually thought about. It is an interesting weapon, but no one suggested that this could be something huge. And I'm liking the way that Doc Wyatt writes episode 5 of Ninjago Dragons Rising. That's just very interesting. However, when Wildfire, Nia, and Kai find out, they obviously tried to head as soon as possible there. He's still alive, he's still coping, but he is going downhill slowly. At the end, Rox finds out that Zark failed and Kerr succeeded, but the weapon's broken. She's fine with that, she's just gonna go see a Jinn. Let's talk about my favorite episode of the season. Favorite episode, The Fallen Wish. Episode 6. So episode 6 is really cool. So if you're a fan of Skybound like I am, my favorite part of Skybound was Wishmaker, where they're all on the boat making wishes. Nia doesn't know what to wish for, and hence this is that episode pretty much for season 3 of Dragons Rising with the Jinn. So the Jinn, Ericor, he's allowing people to have wishes because it will help rebuild his city, but only small. Dareth comes and he's wanting to wish to be a spinjitzu master. And other people have come to wish for, I wish my plant was still alive. Small stuff like that. However, Rox does come, and you know what? Ericor is a shifty Jinn just like Nanakhan and makes her wish the ninja were here. So, Ericor only knows 2 ninja and a dragon, which is right. And Nia and Sora just pop out of their respected places. Sora's is a little silly, however, I will speak about what Nia was doing prior to this at the end. However, they come in and they help try saving Ericor from Rox. Now, the fight sequence for this episode is beautiful, isn't the right word for a fight, but it's jaw-dropping amazing. The design of everything, the beautiful looks of the city, to just how the nightish dark day looks is really cool. I don't want to talk about Ninjago right now. I'll want to do it at the end of this episode discussion, but still, the fight sequences are really beautiful. How Nia works so well with Sora and Ryu is amazing. The group of 3 girls work perfectly well. Now, something I do want to just mention here, Sora has not used her power this whole season up to the point where she frees Ericor. And Ericor's even really good in this episode. He does actually ask Nia and Sora for a wish. However, he cannot grant big ones, and I'm gonna guess Nia wanted to find the rest of the members. Deep down, that wish is definitely granted, because they do obviously find Jay and Arin by the end of the season. So if you do rewatch the episode itself, there's something that you will find very interesting. They accidentally used Nia's voice actor, or I'm pretty sure it's Sora's voice actor, to say something through Nia. I found that interesting. They really messed that line up, and they have not done that in a long time. I'm pretty sure since the early days of Ninjago. I just found that pretty cool, and I just wanted to take note here. I do want to talk about how the city looks before I talk about the rest of the episode. So, I want to talk about how Ninjago looks. So, Ninjago definitely looks different to what Skybound had showed us. Definitely has the ideals on what Nanakon was building in Season 6. But I just want to say something. Did Ninjago Dragons Rising just really make a beautiful palace? The reason why I say this is, you look at Disney movies, you look at any princess sort of thing. I'm not a huge fan of the way they design courtyards, but the courtyard for the Jin Palace is beautiful. I like the texture of the purples and the gold / skin tone color or tan color. Looks really nice. I have to say, it doesn't matter what time of day, because you do see this in bright daylight and you see it in this misty dark tone. It does look really beautiful. I'm really surprised Ninjago Dragons Rising went there and went this route. Now, I fully don't know if we're going to see this place again. I still hope we do. But Ninjago, they did something that I can't say that I want in sets, because I don't even think we'd get it as good as this, sorry. This setting is absolutely amazing, and you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next to have Ninjago. I'm hoping that Ericor rebuilds this place into a more beautiful palace. Could you imagine if he could bring some more Jin back to life? Which I think would be a little bad decision, because there would be a lot of Jin just roaming the palace and so many people making wishes. But still, I think this was an absolutely good way to bring Ninjago back. Let's talk about a bit about Nia. Nia learns this kind of already knowledge to us. So let's talk about the small one. She finds out about Thunder Thing and the Arc Dragon of Focus. She finds out that Thunder Thing is a Chaos Dragon, and the Prismatic Blades will help, obviously, open the gate. Now, the chains. Now, the other thing that we did learn from this, that Arin had already known, is a Prismatic Blade can help see the souls around you when you put them to your face. This is thanks to Prismatic Steel. Now, when Nia and Sora reunite, Nia shares this information to Sora. Sora says, "Oh, we have one of these prismatic blades." Then Nia's like, "Oh shit! Oh well, we better pretty much get back up after this fight and meet up." So what happens is, they will meet up next episode. It's just, I don't want to talk about what Sora's doing, because it's kind of cringe. Lloyd is literally messing around with the sword. If that was a 22-minute fight, Lloyd was just playing with a sword while Pixel, Frack, and Zane were like, yeah, they fucking disappeared. Sorry about language, but literally like that, they just disappeared, so, don't know. But hence, I liked how Nia and Kai found this information out thanks to Roby's book, but absolutely freaking amazing how this episode does things. It's one of Doc Wyatt's, best, I think, in this season. But I think in the last 2 seasons, the whole Dragon's Rising, I think this is the best way to explore an episode and have a side plot too. It's a true story. It's about Nia Ryu doing something, which I found 10 out of 10 really good. So I'm probably not going to explain this whole Lord Ra's part because it's a lot, and I'm still trying to head myself into it. So I'm just going to quickly get this explained by Raz himself.
Source dragons.
And how do we get that?
Each of the source dragons must heed the call of their own icons, which can only be used once. That is how I summoned the source dragon of energy, which Imperium helped me contain under their city, never knowing my ultimate goals. But Imperium was not ready to contain 2 dragons. Hence, I've been carrying the icon of the source dragon of strength with me all this time. But we need icons for the other 6, and ways to contain them. I had planned to create new icons with the elemental powers I gathered at the tournament, until the Forbidden Five betrayed me. Now, we must find other ways to obtain the icons we need.
If that will bring my parents back, I'll help you. Whatever it takes.
So yeah, that's a lot to take in, because source dragons, icons, it's a whole head wrap, and the whole head wrap of the theory that the source dragon of strength is Lord Raz's master. There's ways this could be denied or promoted. It's just a lot to understand, because I've only watched this like a couple of times now, so I need a little more to understand this. It's a lot. Anyhow, by the end of the episode, Raz asks Arin where they find out information about the dragon energy cores, which we'll see in the next episode. Arin says we were at the World Forest, and Raz is like, take me there. And who do we suspect is following their ass? Hell yeah, Jay. Now, I probably won't mention this in another episode. I probably do a separate video about this, but Jay has his own like little disguise thing to fly, and it kind of looks a bit like a Dragonian warrior. Kind of funny, because he's never seen one of them. But still, this episode was absolutely great. 10 out of 10. Loved it. Love every plot to it and every information that we get. It's a huge world-building episode. Episodes, we may be recording the episodes like this via YouTube videos. Only reason being is because there's a lot to obviously uncover with these episodes. So I want to break them down sort of scene by scene. So I know this isn't a huge factor, but how they break the chains is pretty cool. What happens is the weapon, if I can get it, it glows a certain color. Let me also just change the speed for you guys. They change a color, so this is yellow. So then it finds that chain, and then is able to be cut. Thunderfang is being a bit impatient. However, we get this cute scene with Zane and Pixel. This is obviously episode 7 of Dragon's Rising. They all sort of reunite with each other. Zane makes a joke about him being buff, and then we pretty much get onto the episode itself, called the Dragonian Majesty. So Wildfire has a bit of a quest. She gets pretty annoyed with the bots. So she's like, I'll go on a self-journeyed quest then. However, Arin and Raz fall into difficulty, and there's a couple issues that Arin and Raz do obviously come across with Rogue chasing them. However, they do finally meet up with that small dragon Arin saved at the end of season 2, at the start of season 2, part 2. And this guy has got the talking voice for now, only until the little guy grows up. And he said, I'll do whatever it takes to help you and help you find your master, Lloyd. Who Arin's master is now not Lloyd, it is Raz. So we go back and cut into Lloyd's team. Lloyd and other ninja. They find the blades. They got one of the blades, of course, and they turn into a search weapon. Pixel and Zane are going to search out on a quest to find, to search the other realms. Pretty much after this is all over, Arin and Roz make it to Temple of Energy Cores. Then we cut back to Wildfire in the Storm Rider mech set. That wasn't the best. They come across. She tries to find like stuff that would help wasting sickness. Have Arin and Roz come to the Temple of Spirits. Roz destroys the first Ninjutsu Master's face, and then we get this like little scene here where Roz pretty much demonstrates his strength. I'm not gonna be able to play the clip for you guys here, but while Roz is torturing the spirit, because he says, "I can't tell you, only if you're descendant." He says, "Tell me." Roz tells me what I need to know about making dragon icons, and the spirit says, "In the depths of the underworld, the casket of bones, forged of the forgotten." So Roz gets the information he wants. He leaves. The dragons are like, "We know who you are, Roz. Arin, step aside. You shouldn't be doing this. He's a bad guy." However, Arin flies away and tries to work things out peacefully. By the end of the episode, Wildfire sees that Roby is not getting better. She sees how the small dragon gets better, so she tries to use her powers like the other dragon did. However, Arin and Roz are still bickering about how the situation it went, and Roz is like, "Your issue is you need to be liked." However, he doesn't need it. And then we pretty much cut to the ninja finding Arin, which is really cool. So I do like this episode. I just think it's explored very well. This is hence why we do see. I'm going to quickly cut to Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 3. I'm going to cut to Google. Oh no, I'll cut to Canva actually, because I've got this on Canva. A while ago we had this image of Arin, Sora. This is a bit off the chops. Gotta quickly find the image for you guys. That was leaked for Season 3, Part 2. Probably have more luck searching it. I'm getting warmer. This whole image here with them in the underworld is pretty much what we're going to obviously see in Season 3, Part 2. Obviously, Sora will go with them. We'll discuss that at the end. But this is pretty much what Season 3, Episode 7 is exploring. Them going to the Cauldron Realms to stop the merge, or going to that place that the spirit told them. So that's pretty cool. Dragons Rising is the flashback episode. How Sora got to the crossroads after the merge. So it is a very interesting episode. What is the episode's name again? Hell no. What the hell is the intro? Why do I feel like there's no intro to this episode? Anyhow, just to speak about a couple of things that I found very interesting in this episode, because they talk about a couple of stuff. There is quite a reference to missing characters. One of the missing characters being this Serpentine. Does it come up with the name? Dilfire? Or Delfire? Something like that? I don't know if that's actually Spitz. That could be Spitz. Maybe the ninja can reunite him with his parents. I don't know, or maybe that could be the young Serpentine that what's his name is fans of. So anyhow, Sora struggles to be obviously in the crossroads she has to sort of steal stuff to make ends meet for herself. It is pretty much like that. The reason why, again, I'm doing this sort of video context like this now is because it's pretty hard to explain Easter eggs when this season, especially this episode, has cuts back and forth to the ninja and then the Forbidden Five, then Roz. So pretty much what happens is they discuss stuff about why Arin has joined the team. Yeah, so it's literally 5 minutes into the episode. Sora is messing around in Creel's junkyard. Crashing Together is the episode name. So pretty much Sora's ninja suit has been her suit her jacket and clothes she's been wearing since she's been a kid, and you can tell she's this like just cheerful young girl. You can tell this is where she started to get her gold hand. Her and Arin just work well together when they were young, and just showing all the good sides. They find the prismatic blade, and then I think Thrak goes to try talking to Arin. No, Thrak I think goes to fight Roz. And then Arin does spin jutsu on Thrak, which I kind of felt hurts. However, then Rogue comes in to take Roz, and Lloyd's like, Arin, look. And yeah, Arin just lets his anger get to him. However, we've cut back to a flashback where Sora's been kidnapped by some of these black skeletons. They're capturing people to work in the mines, I think in the underground. The ninja come in contact with Drix, and he wants the blade, of course. So Drix is pretty much shown off to be powerful. Well, Arin, Sora, and I think Ryu and Zane go after Roz as well. This was pretty cool, but the fight scene between Drix is even better, I think. I think the fight is handled well. Just Drix has to be, in my opinion, this season one of the stronger Forbidden Five members. It's pretty much the same like that. We cut back to the flashbacks, which is pretty cool. How Sora is saved by Arin thanks to the grappling hook. And yeah, pretty much that is the whole entire episode. Sora saves Arin from crashing together. And that is pretty much it of the episode. Until Drix grabs both prismatic blades and Roz and takes it back to base. That's pretty much the whole episode. Let's take a look at the two final episodes. Feeling the prismatic blades are getting close. Arin discusses how his parents are dead, and so thanks to Master Wu and the merge. Now the ninja compiles a plan to get to the monastery, to get to where the Drix is. They are going to go for the monastery. Wildfire sees how this dragon saves his little friend that's dying or got deceased by Kerr's power in the previous episodes. The ninja run back to base. There's this whole thing where if Mr. Furuki's clearing the floor too well, Mr. Furuki's in the season a lot. Arin and Sora have this deep conversation about what happened in the previous season, and how Sora's sorry and Arin is sorry for everything that's happened. As much as this is a beautiful scene, I do wish that it came more from Sora's apology than Arin's. Arin obviously does have a lot to apologize. I just wish it was slowly paced out, and especially where season 3 ends, they could have really paced that apology out a little more. Arin doesn't know if he ever wants to come back to the monastery thanks to Roz, but because of the jetpacks that Jay had / Rogue, Lloyd, Kai, Thrak, and Nia get one. Wildfire tries to use their heat power to heal Roby. We'll see that later on. That works. Going back, there is a bit of a storm tornado thanks to Thunder Thing. Roby's fine now thanks to Wildfire. Roz has been collected and is almost there. The ninja jump into battle, flying like dragons, and they come into contact with the Forbidden Five. Drix hands obviously Raz off to Noct, who Noct goes to fight, which is really a great rematch. There's a lot of rematch scenes. Even Noct says to Sora, a rematch girl, after what happened in Tournament of Sources. Lloyd tells Arin, because he's got both Prismatic blades, to go back to the monastery. He doesn't listen. He goes to save Raz, and kind of messes up the whole thing. So I'm going to quickly skip through this. I want to talk about Zane's mech in the next episode. But as soon as Thunder Thing has been broken free, just take note of what actually does happen here, because this is an interesting topic that we're going to have to discuss in a separate video instead of this breakdown. Thunder Thing consumes their souls. See? Numb. Those 5 dots, are the soul of the Forbidden Five. Numb. He eats them. Now, number 2, this is just cause he does kill them as well. Yeah, we'll see something totally different. Just remember that in the next episode when we're taking a look at the breakdown. I enjoyed this episode a lot. I just don't like Mr. Ferroki stuff sometimes. It's just a bit too much, but still, it works. Let's break down the whole thing of Season 3, Episode 10's finale. We're going to break down the episode bit by bit. Then we're going to take away the key moments at the end and discuss them separately. So, how the fight assumes is we're going to take a look at quickly Zane's mech. Zane's mech looks absolutely sick. I love the way Sora cooked this thing up. Zane tries to save each of the ninja because technically at the moment he's got Sora and Pixel perfectly fine. Lloyd, Arin, and Frack are holding each other's hands, trying to keep in good contact after the wings broke. Wildfire comes to save Lloyd, Arin, and Frack. Kind of saved obviously by Zane. It's interesting to note here, we don't know where Rogue is at this point. He has to be somewhere, but apparently he's come into battle at this point. Ryan almost gets brutally killed, but he's fine. We get to see that new jet as well. That was in a previous episode for Wildfire. Back to the meat of the episode. There is this huge storm. And taking a look at the best point of view of Cole and Geo's, it's where this gets more intense. The administration doesn't approve of the storm. The ninja head into battle, and you can see that this ninjutsu is really different. I've spoken about that in a separate video. Some of the thing says that he can smell a conduit, someone that was a part of the Source Dragons who has tasted their power. That actually might be a bit later on, but it's the main necessity that comes from here. Actually, yeah, Rogue does come in to take Raz while this battle's ensuing as well. I don't know how Arin gets his weapon back. Don't know how that happened, because the Forbidden Five had it previously. It's not like they just took it one and gave it back to him. So I don't know how that works. Ryu actually hops onto the jet to help fly it in to battle, which is pretty cool. It does look like he actually does struggle. Yeah, so this is the part where they do Rising Dragon technique. They realize that something realizes he can smell a conduit, and it's Lloyd. I'm also guessing he smells the Oni blood on him as well as the dragon. So he tries to consume Lloyd's soul, especially when he has tasted the power. Then he says, "What are you? Are you... What are you channeling? Are you channeling that busybody motion? Or is it ironic that you're challenging life? Or are you challenging strength?" And he's like, it's ironic if you're challenging life. I found that very interesting because we have not heard from the life source dragon. Maybe that's the source dragon we should hear from. Lloyd gets literally thrown to the wall and his soul's getting consumed by Thunder Thing. Pixel comes in to save him. Same with Zane. Now we can see here too, Zane's Spinjitzu. No, it's still the same. I'm gonna still guess same body, same person. He doesn't have that big of a tornado thing, that dragon thing that the ninja have in the first realm. But I know for a fact Arin does not have that. We cut bits and pieces. We do see that Threats is like Akira, a flying, and you can tell that he's flying. Cole goes to save him, and I think he's using his earth powers. His magma is now on his legs now. I realize that now. I know it was a season 1 thing. Rogue is being attacked by the Dragonians. Nia is fighting along, and then Jay he's like, I'm not gonna just stand by this. These people are hurting people. Not good. Jay attacks. He says some puns a bit later on, but Wildfire lets Kai use the ride. Fraxa, Zane, Pixel. There's a lot of fighting. Admittedly, this is a great way to do a fight after last season with vehicles and ninja, but you can see Jay's like, how about we lightening up the mood, and it's a really cool fight scene. Thunder Thing tries to consume Lloyd's soul. He ends up doing it. In short, Arin is kind of disappointed that Lloyd's soul has been, it's just interesting. Arin then figures a way to defeat him, and he still has that potion from before. He froze it. Let's get to the scene. Sora's pep talk from before helps him focus and know that he is a good person. He has a good heart, good soul. It's what he's good at. He's a good person. Arin froze it, and you can see there's less shards of strength or forbidden Spinjitzu. He froze it, turns Thunder Thing into Vengestone, and then he enters the Spectral realm. Now, he lets all the souls go. You can see all those gold ones are the Dragonians. There's 5 red ones that he consumes, which are the Forbidden 5, so remember that. And then 1 green one pops out and goes back to Lloyd, which is really cool. So at the end of this, we all knew this was going to happen. Arin goes with Roz, but he mutters something sort of to Sora and Frack, saying, "My parents," and shakes his hand off. So I don't know if he knows that Roz may be manipulating him and lying to him. But however, Lloyd says, Sora says, "I'm sorry to Lloyd. I have to go with him," and she says to Arin, she says to Arin, "What would I be if I wasn't there for you? You need someone to be by your side and make sure you just need her there." And then she says something cute to him, and then she goes off with him. Now, the ninja Kai and Nia are like, "You're just gonna let this happen, Lloyd?" And Lloyd's like, "Yes, that's the difference between us and Roz. Roz keeps people there. He forces them. He forced Jordana to stay, remember? He says they're free to make their own decisions. They're their own person. They've got to do what they've got to do." Lloyd allows this to happen. Ben Frack's not that happy either. Ryu's heartbroken. Nia goes to help Jay out, because who else has lightning power? And yeah, Jay's like, "It's not normal for you guys to have a monastery." Yada yada yada. They end up to the monastery. They don't feel like it's a real win. Cole goes try talking to Jay. And he's like, "Cole," and he's like, "I don't know you, bub." Freaking Wolverine style, buddy. And then they discuss about where Arin's went and Roz's plan. And Jay's like, Arin's parents are still alive. I would know. I realmed reassigned them. You know that, right, Lloyd? And the ninja are like, you serious? And Jay's like, yeah. So anyhow, Morrow's still where he is. And Thunderfang comes, and you know what? Lloyd Morrow's like, yeah, I'll take you on your next adventure because you've got to walk the road to your death. And Thunderfang's like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna consume your souls, and I'm gonna consume your soul. However, Morrow's soul is gold, which is interesting. I'll quickly play it here. He turns into this gold soul. I don't know if it's just that once the spirit has gone, Master has also fallen into it too. It's not really specified or said. Maybe that Mars is gold, because technically he is still a spirit. Remember, there wasn't really a difference with the Dragonians to Forbidden Five to Lloyd. There were all these circle orbs. Those ghosts were obviously green, more was gold. Don't really know why. It could be because his second chance is fake too. There's gotta be a reason for it to being gold. Sorry, but Lloyd's was green because he's the green ninja. He's got green life powers, energy powers. So yeah, this is pretty much a breakdown of season 3. So that was pretty much season 3 Ninjago Dragons Rising broken down for you guys. I will be doing separate videos in the future talking about characters and storylines and story plots that I said I wanted to mention in this video. In the comments down below, let me know what you guys thought about Ninjago Dragons Rising. What you can expect to see on the channel now if you've waited to the end and watched all of this is simple. I am going to still be making my stop motion content and small videos daily. I'll be doing one a day unless there's huge information to talk about. I will be doing character breakdowns for the next month or so, talking about Ninjago Dragons Rising. I will also talk about how popular it is, because in a matter of 2 days, I've had friends that haven't watched the show in a long time talk about how well they thought the first couple of episodes were, and they were interested in Arin's arc, even not knowing who Arin is. Ninjago Dragons Rising has something special to it, and I think that's worth celebrating. I don't have much else to talk about other than just breaking down characters and things that I found interesting in Ninjago Dragons Rising. I have now a lot more stop motion content I do want to make. I will be doing a rogue sort of series where he goes to fight people. But in the comments down below, thank you for watching today's video. If you stuck to the end, it's been muchly appreciated. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos. And if you want to see this when Season 3 Part 2 drops, let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out, guys.